Gotta love these warm temps, almost baseball-like weather, and it's time to step up the plate with more Explore Tulsa. And this time we start the show with a play-by-play experience.
Then the man behind the player's coach.
Followed by part 2 of See You Later!
Plus nice weather, nice ride.
Hi, I'm Stevie Fernandez.
And I'm Trish Whitmer. We're so happy to see you back with us for this week's Explore Tulsa. Now, Stevie, did you go out and enjoy any of the record warm temps we've been having?
Well, the wife and I did go out for a little jog, but I was surprised to find out that even when the temps got up to 70, that wasn't even close to the warmest January temps in Tulsa history.
That's right. On January 28th, 1909, the temperature got up to 82 degrees.
That was the same year that Ty Cobb and Honus Wagner were the American and National League batting champs.
And that's the same year the Washington Senators finished in dead last with just 42 wins.
Well, luckily for Washington, the Senators aren't there anymore, and their new team is called the Nationals, who finished last season in first in the NL East. And I'm willing to bet it's because their play-by-play guy is Tulsan Bob Carpenter.
Well, when I was a kid, obviously the Cardinals were #1. I mean, if you grew up in St. Louis, baseball has to be in your blood. I was 10 years old when Stan Musial retired, so I got to see him play in person. The greatest baseball treat I can think of to be able to see Stan the Man play. We had the Blues, they're still there, but the Blues didn't come till I was about 14 years old as an expansion franchise. So it was kind of funny because we were also crazy about baseball. We played ball morning, noon, and night when the weather permitted, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to put on skates and become a hockey player. So, I guess growing up, my two favorite teams were the Cardinals #1 and the Blues #2. Well, my sisters and my friends tell me that I was a motor mouth, calling play-by-play when we were playing board games inside, or we had this old hockey and baseball and football board games we would play. And I guess for some reason I had to shout out what was going on. So it must have been in my makeup early to do that. But I really wanted to be a sports writer. And then when I got to be a little older and really started kind of noticing Jack Buck and Harry Carey on the radio, those were the two guys who were the primary voices of the Cardinals when I was growing up. I really started to get interested in broadcasting, majored in that in college, and feel very fortunate for the last 39 years or so since I've been out of school to be able to really do what I love. There was a guy here in Tulsa, two guys actually, who I credit with making me into a TV guy. I had taken a job at Channel 8 after my days with the Roughnecks, but then in 1982, Tulsa Cable, now Cox Cable, was carrying a lot of local events. Mark Savage was running the show over there. George Stewart, who had been my news director at Channel 8, he was the right-hand guy over there to Mark Savage, and they just told me, we want you to come over here. We're going to do basketball, we're going to do football, we're going to do soccer games, we'll do some college baseball games in the spring. Those guys really turned me into a TV guy. I found the transition from radio to TV very pleasurable and not as scary or as intimidating as I thought it would be.
I think I read about half of a Clancy novel, and there must have been about 50 games of ping pong in the clubhouse before we got out of here that night.
Well, it happened in 1985, and this guy I will never forget in my career, because I don't know how he found me, I don't know what he saw in me, because I thought I was still pretty raw at that time. But a gentleman by the name of Jim Zrake was the executive producer at USA Network in New York. Jim Zrake calls me out of nowhere and says, I want you to fly to New York, I have some people I want you to meet. And to make a long story short, a week later, I get hired by USA Network to do PGA golf, professional tennis, including the US Open. I did 3 Masters for them. They had some college football and some college basketball at that time. So I was kind of like their utility guy. And the fact that I had done all these different sports for, thank God, Tulsa Cable, George Stewart and Mark Savage, they trained me really well. I was ready for that opportunity. And Jim Zrake is really the guy, as you say, that kind of called me up from regional television, mostly local stuff, to a national stage. And then I kind of went to ESPN about 4 or 5 years after that, because USA was getting out of sports at that time, late 80s, and ESPN was taking over everything. But I will never forget getting in that cab in New York City after my meeting with those guys, thinking to myself, I'm flying home to Tulsa, but I'm now a national sportscaster. Please, God, don't let me screw this up.
Bob has the greatest job of all. I mean, second best job, of course. Standing next to you, Trish, is even better than getting the call from New York to become a big league sportscaster.
Bob does lead a very interesting life. So much so, we decided to continue with more of his story later on in the show.
Oh, good. That's going to give me some time to get some popcorn and peanuts.
Oh, don't stay away too long, because next we'll meet Tulsa World sports writer Jimmie Tramel, learn about his career and his new book about Coach Switzer when we return with more Explore Tulsa.
Ever since the first movie theaters opened in the early 1900s, man has been trying everything to bring that same experience home to enjoy with their families. And for more than 30 years, Video Revolution and their home entertainment experts have been making those dreams come true by designing custom home theater solutions for both in and outdoor use. From 1080p LEDs to the brand new Sony 4K flat panel TVs, or come in to see the latest in sound bars and surround sound setups. Always the top name brands are found at Video Revolution. That same electronic expertise we also apply to your business communications network, from boardroom automation to video wall presentations. No matter what technology the future holds, you can count on Video Revolution to be leading the way. Tulsa's headquarters for the best selection and installation of cutting-edge electronics. Video Revolution on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Hey, it's Stevie from Explore Tulsa with my friend and optometrist for many years, Dr. Robert Zellner. Tell everybody why it's so good to come in to see you.
Well, that's a great question. Let's see, we've got two great locations. We try to stay cutting edge at every point along the way because, let's face it, everybody wants to come in and get taken care of in a timely fashion and get the latest, greatest stuff and save some money and get on with their life. And see clearly.
And if you don't believe it, look on the website.
Absolutely, drzellner.com. You can find that we have our two locations at 69th and Memorial and 3030 South Harvard, or you can give us a call at 749-2020 or 461-2020.
And I got 4 kids, and I got to tell you, as a big family like that, it's affordable too.
Oh yes, and of course, the number one reason, you save some money. I mean, with our 2-pair specials, with our different unique packages that we put together, I mean, you can come in here and your money can go a lot farther than anywhere else.
And that's why with Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, seeing is believing.
Oh, I like that, Stevie. Well done.
Hi again, and thanks for making time to hang out with us for more Explore Tulsa. Stevie, you do know that the Cowboys aren't going to the Super Bowl,
Don't
right?
remind me. It was a catch, by the way. But this is a hat that I got at a Cowboy game during the season when Coach Switzer took Dallas to their last Super Bowl victory.
Well, that explains why the hat looks so worn. You know, there's a new book out about Coach Switzer.
Yeah, it was written by Tulsa World sports writer Jimmie Tramel, telling a great story about who many call the player's coach.
I grew up in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, which is not far from Tulsa, of course, and I was lucky in that our high school, we had a kind of a great journalism program and what I would consider to be a really good student newspaper. So you get some positive reinforcement and say, hey, you know, this is what I want to do. I got hired at the Tulsa World while I was still finishing college, so I was kind of commuting back and forth. I took a job as a sports copy editor, which it's not a bad job, but the hours are weird. It's 4 to midnight every night, and your job is to find mistakes, correct mistakes if you find them in other people's stories, and you write headlines. It's the only creative outlet. You couldn't be creative correcting a mistake, but you could be creative writing a headline. So I took a job, 4 to midnight job, knowing that, hey, maybe if I do that, I can be a writer someday. Writing a book does sound like a fun thing to do until you get in it and you find out it's hard work. The newest book on Coach Barry Switzer was a Tulsa World idea. We're getting into the book business, and this was kind of our test drive. What can we write about? What book can we write that will be kind of a successful audition for future books? And the one person everyone came up with is, if you write a book about Barry Switzer, it's hard to mess that up. You can't go wrong. First of all, I was a little goofy for agreeing to write it because Barry had already written a book in 1989 called Bootlegger's Boy, and it's a book that everyone, if you've read it, really seems to like. And so I knew I couldn't do Bootlegger's Boy Part 2 because that's already been there, done that. More so, I went straight into research. It makes your work fun because I was enjoying the research at the same time I was doing the research. The first thing I pulled out was a Bill Connors column about how Oklahoma gambled and went to the wishbone in 1970. And it was a huge gamble because they'd never run the wishbone before. And it wasn't a deal where then I went to Barry Switzer and we had a lot of talks about this book. It was more so other people telling stories about Barry Switzer. And we went that route, and Barry was kind enough to set me up with his childhood friend Billy Joe Holder in his hometown of Crossett, Arkansas. So more so Barry just kind of pointed me the right direction a couple of times. I tell you what, I don't know if I learned so much new things about Barry Switzer, but it reinforced the things we already think. Like, this is not someone who isolates himself from humanity and puts up walls and you don't know anything about him. I mean, his emotions he wears on his sleeves. There are people who call Barry Switzer 20, 30 years after they played for him and says, hey, Coach, Hurricane Katrina blew my house away, can you help? And he says to Louis Oubre, I've got you, big boy. And he sends down 2 truckloads full of furniture to rescue a guy who lost everything in Hurricane Katrina. This is a real human being, and I think that's lost sometimes nowadays among the college coaches. I don't know if books are my future, but in July I switched from our sports department to our scene department, where I'm writing mostly entertainment things. And it gives me a chance to interview some folks beyond the sports realm, which I really enjoy. I'm a big nerd at heart, so I get to interview some nerdy people. I've never been more nervous in my life than I interviewed William Shatner last year before a pop culture convention. I don't know what, because I've interviewed an Alice Cooper and Evel Knievel and people like that. But the good news is once his voice came on, we went and the butterflies went away. But I'm really looking forward to talking to more people in that regard. And I once thought I just like sports, and that's wrong. I like stories. It doesn't matter what kind of story, whether it's a movie or a TV show or a book. I just like stories.
Jimmie's writing is really a fun read. Plus, this book has a lot of pictures in it, too.
Oh, I had a feeling that's how you read it so fast. If you'd like a copy for yourself that doesn't have crown notes in it like Stevie's does, visit TulsaWorld.com Sports Extra to order online.
With my Cowboys out of the race, I gotta get my mind around baseball season.
Oh, well, to help you out, Stevie, next we'll bring back Bob Carpenter for part 2 of how he went from being a Tulsa sportscaster to working his way to ESPN when we come back with more Explore Tulsa.
Hello, I'm John Erling with Voices of Oklahoma. Our great state has been home to countless individuals whose place in history has been earned through each of their many accomplishments. Voices of Oklahoma's mission is to preserve their story in an oral history presentation like none other. Accounts direct from famous Oklahomans, political figures, and many others who have left their indelible mark on the development, history, and future of Oklahoma. So please, treat yourself by listening to those who are the voices of Oklahoma.
Looking for a new home entertainment experience? Well, hi, and welcome to Video Revolution, Tulsa's best in cutting-edge electronics. Professional, highly trained home entertainment experts. Video Revolution's been serving Tulsans for over 25 years with name brands like Sony, Clips,
Definitive Technology,
Samsung, and so many more. Great selection, price match guarantee, custom installation, expert assistance equals home entertainment success. See for yourself. The Video Revolution showroom features the largest selection of flat panel TVs in all of Oklahoma. Plus the latest in 3D entertainment. Highly trained home entertainment experts on hand. Professional delivery, installation, and service after the sale. And the best selection of name brands. Visit us online at videorevolution.com and find out more about everything we have to offer. Video Revolution, located on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
2-man on. Coming to the plate for Explore Tulsa team is the power-hitting Trish Whitmer.
Oh, save it, Stevie. You're not going to be found like Bob Carpenter was.
Man, he's done so much throughout his career and met so many amazing athletes.
Why don't we let him tell us all about the great moments in sports that he's had the chance to witness and call?
But maybe all is right in the Cardinal world again. Red Shandings has his tomatoes out.
He made his stop early tonight, Bob.
Getting to call a Cardinals division clincher in 1996. The following year, Mark McGwire showed up, calling a lot of his home runs in 1998. And we didn't know about the whole andro steroids thing back then. That all came out later, but that was really exciting. A couple of Cardinal no-hitters with rookie pitchers Jose Jimenez and Bud Smith. Those were fun. In college basketball, I got to call some NCAA games, the Final Four in St. Louis in 2005. For NCAA International, I think we were on in like 100 countries or something. Football, the Holiday Bowl in 1988, Barry Sanders' last game. Pat Jones on the sidelines. That was my first bowl game for ESPN. And then there's soccer. You know, I was with the Roughnecks for a long time, getting to call their soccer bowl win in 1983 in Vancouver when they won the NASL championship. That was a thrill. And then 11 years later, the World Cup here in the United States. And I was able to do those games at 5 different stadiums, 5 different venues around the country. That was very cool.
As the Dutch take on the Saudis. Good evening and welcome to RFK Stadium. I'm Bob Carpenter. The Dutch side is considered the second best team in Europe, and FIFA has them ranked behind the Germans.
I am not a memorizer. I've got my numerical charts, and you know, I have some for football, I had some for basketball. Baseball, you work out of a scorebook. But I used to sit there for the first 5 minutes of a basketball game, and when I started working for USA Network and ESPN, I wasn't doing TU versus whoever, or ORU versus whoever. I was doing 2 teams that maybe I didn't know that well. But it's remarkable when you, I think it took me, I think after doing play-by-play seriously for about 5 years, it really started kicking in, where if I was about that first 4-minute timeout that comes under the 16-minute mark in the first half, when I came out of that timeout, it dawned on me suddenly, hey, I know all these guys. Mannerisms, facial features, hair, the way they wear the uniform, socks, whatever. You would pick up little things without even realizing it or thinking about it. And then you got the rest of the game to try to make it even better. And hopefully in the second half, when you really get down to crunch time, that's when you can really put your best foot forward. I consider every day I go to the ballpark a privilege. I don't have to go to an office. I don't have a boss screaming over my shoulder. I have a lot of people watching over me to make sure I don't do stupid things or say stupid things. But you know, I just try to keep it in perspective every day. So, you know, I had all those years with the Cardinals. I had a lot of years with ESPN. And now, you know, the last place in my life I thought I'd ever find myself would be our nation's capital doing Nationals baseball. And, you know, the Nationals may be the last job I ever have in broadcasting. If that's the way it works out, that's great. I'm in my early 60s now. I've been doing this for almost 40 years and traveling a lot. And there will come a time over the next few years when it'll be time to shut it down or to scale it way back. Because my primary goals, I think now for the rest of my life, is I want to be the best husband I can be. I want to be the greatest dad I can be to my 2 girls. And the best father-in-law I can be to my son-in-law, and you know, maybe a granddad someday. But you know, I look back, and I've been so fortunate to do a lot of things, and you know, that's my perspective. Not any accomplishments I have. You know, the awards over there on the shelf, and the Bill Teagan's award and that stuff. You know, those are nice. They're meaningful. It makes you feel good. But if you're in this business to get awards, get out right now. Because it's the people you work with, the crews you get to work with, the great producers, directors, analysts, other announcers. And when I take off the headset for the final time sometime in the next few years, those will be the things I think about.
Bob's done and seen a lot throughout his sports broadcast career. Some of those moments are even almost as big as my Pony Colt days. Trish, did I tell you about the time I stole home and we won the championship game?
Yeah, why don't we save it for a little later? Look for Bob to continue broadcasting the Nationals to another great season on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network. And check with your local cable provider for availability in the Tulsa area.
With baseball season just a few months away, I need to get some endurance training, you know, for my time on the mound.
Don't you just throw batting practice to 3rd graders?
You got to mix it up with those kids, Trish. They're not all suckers for a changeup.
Oh, I've got the perfect workout for you, and it's on the bike. Next up, we meet with Buster Brown from Bixby Bicycles when Explore Tulsa continues.
Hi, Dr. Robert Zellner here. For over 20 years, I've offered affordable, convenient eye care in Tulsa. Right now, you can get 1 pair of glasses or contact lenses starting at just $99 or my 2-pair deal for $129. Hey, and as always, the eye exam's included. Walk-ins are always welcome. Glasses are ready in about an hour. Plus, we have over 2,000 frames to choose from. We're open 7 days a week. Come see why we're voted Tulsa's best. And our drive-thru at 69th and Memorial makes pickup simple and easy. For the best eye care value in Tulsa, Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates.
At Video Revolution,
we've got today's 3D technology.
Smart TVs. And I can help you pick the one that's a larger size TV.
We handle it all here at Video Revolution.
Now people can get
a 90-inch TV.
Locally owned and operated.
Now coming up on a 30-year anniversary.
Customer service is our priority. We have our own service center.
It just brings back enjoyment to watching TV.
And now it's affordable for everybody.
And we sell fun stuff.
It's like toys for big kids. Customers that come into Video Revolution are blown away.
With the warmer temps we've been having, everybody's been getting their cycle on. And if you're one of those, then you'll be so glad you stuck around for more Explore Tulsa.
Over 12 million bicycles are bought every year in the U.S.
And they make all kinds of bikes these days, too, from street to trail bikes.
Oh, I bet your first bike had a banana seat.
It did. And man, was that baby fast.
Buster Brown at Bixby Bicycles is a national champion who knows how to go fast. But more importantly, he knows how to make cycling fun.
Most memorable races that I've done, probably early on, some of the very beginner races. The whole learning curve, getting to know people, getting to know the bicycle again, the road bike, because that was a new experience, riding a road bike versus a mountain bike or a BMX bike. And you know, the early on races was probably the most fun, and the ones I remember as much as the ones where at the end of my career of racing pretty hard. A national event, a Master National event, and going to Master Worlds. All those are exciting and fun, but those early on ones, you know, when you're new, it's just like a kid in a candy store. Well, the best silver medalist in the Worlds, it was a Masters event. I was 33 years of age. It was 1997. So from 96 to 98, 99, I raced pretty hard on a pro level. I never turned pro, but on a pro level. And it took a lot of miles, 15, 18 hours a week, a lot of racing events on the weekends for about a 6-year period before I finally started achieving the goals that I wanted to achieve, and one of them was the Master Worlds in Austria. After my career was over, I took 5 years off and started back again. That's in 2003 and 2004, I started coaching and being where I went and not realizing at the level it was at the time, helping others achieve what they want to do, whether it be win a Tulsa Tough race, win a local race, accomplish a 50-mile ride that they didn't think they wanted to accomplish. So not so much on the bicycle for me, other than, I mean, I enjoyed what I was doing and very grateful I had the opportunity, but helping the people that come in the store achieve what they want to achieve, trying to get them on the right track to do so. You know, a lot of people that are runners, a lot of people that are exercising, and they want a form of cardio in their exercise routine. They may not be racing, but they want the camaraderie of what golf or what, you know, an event of that would bring. And also they want just to get outdoors. You know, it's a great way. So in order for somebody to get started, they just need to come into any shop. There's a lot of good shops in the area. Come in and get fitted for a bike, figure out what they want to spend on a bike, let them understand all the dynamics that go with it, and you know, let them test ride one and see how they're going to like it first. Cycling now is taken off on a forefront of, you know, they call it the new golf. There's a lot of people involved. It's in the mainstream, and Tulsa is really, I think, on a cutting edge of something even bigger somewhere down the road. And it's mainly because of what Tim and the Wheelman and that whole group has put together, which is they just do one of the best jobs I've ever seen. You know, a good starter bike is going to boil down what they want to do. We have families that come in that want to just ride down the trail for 2 or 3 miles. It takes them 15, 20 minutes, turn around and go home, get a cup of coffee after, get a little bit of exercise, and you know, that group of people ride from April to, you know, fair weather. You know, they're not going to ride when it's 10 degrees outside. And then we have some that come in, they get started, so they want a road bike. The other group might want a hybrid bike or a mountain bike. It just boils down to what they want to do. Our shop is primarily made up of a lot of road bikes and a lot of families doing hybrid type stuff, you know, with their comfortable bikes. So it really boils down to what they want, you know. But we then get started on a bike as low as $400 up to, you know, the sky's the limit. It really is.
We should go on one of those cycle trips with Buster and his crew from Bixby, Trish. I'll even slow down so you can keep up.
To learn more about Buster, the cycles and services he offers, visit BixbyBicycles.com.
Hey Trish, why can't a bicycle stand up on its own?
I don't know why.
Because it's too tired. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Oh, brother, stick around. We'll be right back for more Explore Tulsa.
Hi, I'm Joe Cronister with Video Revolution. Did you know that there's a way to get rid of your cable bill? It's actually doing it with an antenna. Get free local high definition.
Antennas can bring you true uncompressed HD programming with channels including NBC, PBS, Fox, CBS, the CW, ABC, and many more. Knowing which antenna is right for you all depends on which zone you live in, because you don't have to have cable to enjoy having more choices. The WineGuard HD 1080 is the perfect way to get local HD VHF and UHF channels from a compact antenna within Zone 1. And you can get HD reception from towers as far as 30 miles away. Need a little more range than 30 miles? Here's the WineGuard HD 7698P with HD reception up to 70 miles. That makes this antenna great for any zone. If you want something that's powerful and discreet, then you'll go with the WineGuard FL6550A. This sleek, compact antenna has a built-in amplifier for added reception, creating an almost impossible chance of dropouts or pixelation. With reception up to 60 miles from any other tower in the area, you can't go wrong with this antenna.
Don't pay monthly bills any longer. Come down to Video Revolution and let me show you how.
Be sure and join us next week when we get all dressed up for date night with The Girl Can Cook, Candace Conley.
Special thanks to Bob Carpenter for sharing his sports memories and great career highlights with us.
Well, thanks too to Jimmie Tramel for letting us go behind the scenes at the Tulsa World and sharing his new book, The Player's Coach, with us. Now, let us know when you're ready to do an Explore Tulsa book. I've got some serious tell-all on Trish here.
Plus, thanks to Buster Brown and his crew at Bixby Bicycles. Let us know when you hit Stevie's banana seat back.
Remember, if you miss any of the show, you can always catch us at exploretulsa.com.
As always, each week we feature the people, places, and attractions that make us proud to call Tulsa our home.
Hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook. Share with us someone you think Tulsa should know more about.
Plus, remember, Explore Tulsa is brought to you by Video Revolution, located on the northwest corner of 71st and Lewis.
Stop by, say hello to Ron and all the guys for your home entertainment needs.
And Explore Tulsa is also proudly brought to you by Dr. Robert Zollner and Associates.
Home of the two-pair for a $129 deal with 2 locations, 3030 South Harvard and 69th and Memorial.
Well, that's all the time we have for you on this week's show, but we'll see you next week right here on Explore Tulsa.